You think you're simple, a creature of habit, predictable routines, morning coffee, familiar routes, the same thoughts circling like vultures over yesterday's mistakes. You believe you understand the machinery between your ears, a reliable instrument that sees, remembers, decides. You're wrong. You are a walking contradiction, a biological paradox wrapped in skin. Your mood shifts with room temperature. Your decisions bend toward whatever you saw last. This isn't failure. This is design. The human mind is a marvel of shortcuts, biases, and beautiful glitches. 50 specific ways your psychology operates beneath conscious awareness, orchestrating your reality while you believe you're in control. Some of these mechanisms protect you, others deceive you. All of them shape the person you're becoming, one invisible nudge at a time. Your brain, 3 pounds of electrical storm, operates on principles you've never consciously grasped, executing thousands of invisible protocols that shape every choice you think is yours. Walk through a doorway and forget why you entered. Stand in a crowd and suddenly run faster. Hear a lie repeated enough times and watch it crystallize into truth. Your memory isn't a camera, it's a fiction writer. Your confidence isn't earned, it's often borrowed from strangers' faces. What follows is a catalog of your hidden architecture. 50 neurological facts, 50 psychological effects most people experience but never name. 50 moments where the brain's invisible hand guides your behavior, your emotions, your perception of truth itself. You are about to meet the stranger who's been living inside your skull. Let's begin. 1. The doorway effect. Walk through a doorway, and your brain flushes working memory. The threshold acts as an event boundary. Your mind interprets spatial transition as a narrative closure, dumping the previous context to make room for what comes next. You cross into the kitchen and suddenly cannot remember why. The architecture of your home is erasing your thoughts in real time. Write it down before you walk. The doorway doesn't care about your intentions. 2. Social facilitation. Place yourself beside others and your performance amplifies. The mere presence of people, watching or not, triggers arousal in your nervous system. Simple tasks become easier. Your body recruits extra energy when witnesses exist. Runners clock faster times in groups. Typists make fewer errors in open offices when the work is routine. Use crowds for momentum. Solitude for complexity. 3. The planning fallacy. You are constitutionally incapable of accurate time estimation. Your brain forecasts the future by consulting only best-case scenarios, ignoring past delays, unexpected obstacles, human friction. You think the project takes 3 hours. It takes 7. This isn't optimism. It's a perceptual blind spot, hardwired into perspective thinking. Double your estimate, then add 30%. The fallacy has already claimed your first number. 4. The illusion of truth effect. Repetition breeds credibility. Your brain confuses familiarity with accuracy. Statements heard multiple times feel more true regardless of their validity. Advertisers know this. Propagandists weaponize it. The lie repeated becomes the truth remembered. Frequency masquerades as evidence. Count exposures, not convictions. What feels obvious may simply be repeated. 5. The Zeigarnik effect. Unfinished tasks colonize your attention. Your brain assigns higher priority to incomplete work, keeping it active, in background processing, even when you've moved on. The email you drafted but didn't send. the conversation you started but didn't close. These open loops consume cognitive resources, whispering from the edges of awareness until resolution arrives. Finish or formally pause. The mind respects closure and explicit postponement equally. 6. The peak and rule. Your memory doesn't average experiences, it samples them. The brain privileges two moments: the most intense point and the final moment. A painful medical procedure remembered as tolerable because it ended gently. A vacation marred by a single argument recalled as disappointing. Your past is a highlight reel, not a documentary. Endings write the story. Engineer the last 5 minutes. 7. Choice overload. Options beyond 7 begin to paralyze decision-making. Your prefrontal cortex, tasked with comparison and evaluation, buckles under excessive alternatives. The grocery aisle with 40 jam varieties sells less than the one with 6. Abundance masquerades as freedom while secretly breeding paralysis and regret. Constraints liberate. Cure it before you choose. 8. The spotlight effect. You believe others notice your flaws, your stumbles, your awkward silences with the same intensity you do. They don't. People are protagonists in their own narratives, barely registering your supporting role. That stain on your shirt, that verbal fumble, it evaporates from their awareness within minutes. You are far less visible than you fear. The spotlight exists only in your mind. Act accordingly. 9. Nature exposure. Effect. 20 minutes in natural environments measurably reduces cortisol, lowers blood pressure, and restores directed attention capacity. The brain evolved in wilderness, not cubicles. Trees, water, sky, these aren't luxuries, they're cognitive infrastructure. Your nervous system literally recalibrates in the presence of green. Nature isn't recreation, it's maintenance. 10. The pratfall effect. Competent people become more likable after minor mistakes. Perfection creates distance. Vulnerability breeds connection. Spill your coffee during a presentation and watch warmth replace intimidation in the room. The stumble signals humanity. Your flaws, strategically revealed, are social currency. Let one seam show, armor repels, authenticity attracts. 11. Working memory limits. Your conscious mind holds approximately 4 chunks of information simultaneously. 7 was the old estimate. Neuroscience revised it downward. This bottleneck governs everything: conversation tracking, mental math, following instructions. Exceed this limit, and items start dropping from the buffer like passengers from an overcrowded boat. Externalize immediately. Your brain's RAM is smaller than you think. 12. The halo effect. One positive trait contaminates all other judgments. Find someone attractive, and you'll unconsciously rate them as smarter, kinder, more competent. The brain takes cognitive shortcuts, allowing single attributes to cast halos over entire personality assessments. First impressions aren't just powerful, they're infectious. Question the halo. Beauty doesn't predict character. Your brain just pretends it does. 13. Ego depletion. Willpower operates on a depletable resource. Each decision, each act of self-control, each resisted temptation draws from the same tank. By evening, your discipline weakens, not because you're weak, but because the reservoir has drained. Dieters break at night. Bad decisions cluster in the afternoon. Schedule what matters when willpower is full. Mornings guard the gate better than evenings. 14. The recency effect? Information encountered last dominates recall. Job interviews favor candidates seen at the end of the day. Arguments remember the final exchange, not the preceding logic. Your brain's retrieval system privileges the most recently encoded data, overweighting conclusions that arrived moments ago. Position matters. Speak last when memory is the metric. 15. Mood congruent to memory. Your current emotional state filters which memories surface. Feel sad, and the brain serves sad memories, deepening the mood, which summons more sad memories, a recursive loop. Happiness recalls happiness. Anxiety excavates past anxieties. Your mood is both archivist and censor. Break the loop externally. The emotion won't relinquish its own keys. 16. The isolation effect. Items that stand out are remembered. The word in red on a page of black text. The silence between loud noises. The brain evolved to detect novelty, pattern violations, contrast. Distinctiveness is a memory multiplier. To be remembered, be different. Break the pattern deliberately. Sameness is forgettable. 17. Nostalgia's analgesic effect. Recalling positive past experiences literally reduces physical pain perception. Nostalgia activates reward circuits and social connection areas, producing mild analgesia. The past soothes the present. Memory doubles as medicine, a psychological morphine stored in your hippocampus. Keep good memories accessible. They're not decoration. They're painkillers. 18. The IKEA effect. You overvalue things you partially created. Assemble your own furniture, and you'll price it higher than identical pre-built pieces. Effort breeds attachment. The brain mistakes labor for value, confusing investment with worth. Your creations carry inflated emotional price tags. Sweat equity distorts judgment. Separate effort from outcome. 19. The Ben Franklin effect. Do someone a favor and you'll like them more, not less. The brain resolves dissonance by adjusting attitudes to match behavior. I helped them, therefore I must like them. The effect reverses the expected causality. Action shapes feeling, not the reverse. Ask for small favors. People convince themselves to care about you afterward. 20. Ambient temperature effects. Physical warmth increases social warmth judgments. Hold a hot coffee, and you'll rate strangers as friendlier. Cold hands predict harsher moral assessments. The brain's thermoregulation and social cognition systems are primitively intertwined. Room temperature shapes personality perception. Warm the room before difficult conversations. Temperature is emotional scaffolding. 21. The paradox of choice. Freedom to choose beyond a threshold generates anxiety, not satisfaction. The unchosen options haunt you. Did I pick correctly? The brain simulates alternatives, breeding her regret. Fewer options produce higher satisfaction, not because the choice is better, but because the comparison space is smaller. Limit inputs before deciding. Satisfaction inversely correlates with option count. 22. Cognitive dissonance. Reduction. Your brain rewrites beliefs to match behavior. Smoke cigarettes despite knowing the risks. You'll unconsciously minimize the danger, exaggerate conflicting studies, or redefine health. The mind cannot tolerate contradiction. It resolves tension by distorting reality until comfort returns. Watch what you defend. The justification reveals the dissonance. 23. The fresh start effect. Temporal landmarks. New Year's, birthdays, Mondays. Trigger aspiration and behavior change. The brain uses these markers as psychological clean slates. The calendar's arbitrary divisions become motivational tools. You are more likely to start a diet on January 1st than January 17th, for no rational reason. Create your own landmarks. The brain respects symbolic beginnings. 24. Attentional blink. Show your brain 2 targets in rapid succession, and you'll miss the second one. For approximately half a second after detecting something important, your visual processing goes temporarily blind. The attentional system blinks, locking resources onto the first item, while subsequent information vanishes unprocessed. Slow down when scanning for errors. Your attention has a refractory period. 25. The curse of knowledge. Once you understand something, you cannot remember what it was, like not to understand it. Experts struggle to teach beginners because they've lost access to their original confusion. The brain overwrites ignorance with expertise, making past states of unknowing invisible. Teach from the question, not the answer. Your clarity is their fog. 26. The pratfall of procrastination. Delay itself produces anxiety that exceeds the task's actual difficulty. Your brain's forecasting error. It simulates the unstarted work as more aversive than the started work. The anticipation is the poison. Once begun, most tasks shrink. The dread was larger than the deed. The first 2 minutes dismantle the fear. Start before you're ready. 27. Awe expansion. Experiences of awe, vastness that transcends understanding, literally alter time perception and decrease self-focus. Stand before an ocean, a mountain range, a star field, and your sense of self temporarily shrinks. Awe recalibrates egocentric thinking. The cosmos is a humility drug. Seek scale deliberately. Small selves make better decisions. 28. The Google effect. Your brain outsources information it knows can be retrieved externally. Why memorize what Google remembers? This isn't laziness, it's efficient resource allocation. But the trade-off is real. You remember where facts live, not the facts themselves. Search engines have become your extended memory. Decide what deserves internal storage. Not everything should live in the cloud. 29. The negativity bias. Bad is stronger than good. A single criticism outweighs 5 compliments. Losses feel worse than equivalent gains feel good. The brain's threat detection system assigns disproportionate weight to negative information, an evolutionary advantage when predators lurked. A psychological liability in modern life. Compensate consciously. 1 negative requires 5 positives to reach equilibrium. 30. Gratitude's neurochemical shift. Deliberately noting 3 specific things you're grateful for measurably increases dopamine and serotonin levels within minutes. Gratitude isn't sentiment, it's neurochemistry. The practice rewires baseline mood by training attention toward positive stimuli. You are chemically re-engineering yourself. 3 items: daily, specific. Gratitude is a prescription, not a platitude. 31. The mere exposure effect. Familiarity breeds preference. The song you hated on first listen becomes tolerable by the 10th, enjoyable by the 20th. Your brain interprets repeated exposure as evidence of safety and value. Advertisers exploit this. Abusers weaponize it. Repetition masquerades as merit. Distinguish exposure from quality. Frequency doesn't equal excellence. 32. Implementation intentions. Goals phrased as if X, then Y. Double follow-through rates. I will exercise fails. If it's 6 a.m., then I put on running shoes succeeds. The brain requires concrete cues and specific responses. Vague aspirations lack neural scaffolding. Specificity is executable. Never state a goal without its trigger. The if activates the then. 33. The Dunning-Kruger effect. Incompetence prevents recognition of incompetence. Lack of skill eliminates the ability to evaluate skill. Beginners radiate confidence because they cannot perceive what they don't know. Expertise brings humility, not because masters lack confidence, but because they've discovered the territory's true size. Certainty often signals ignorance. Doubt is evidence of learning. 34. Change blindness. You miss dramatic alterations in your visual field when attention is directed elsewhere. A person walks behind a pillar and emerges as someone else. You don't notice. The brain doesn't record everything. It samples strategically. Your experience of seeing is mostly prediction and filling gaps. You see far less than you think. Humility begins with perception. 35. The spacing effect. Information reviewed over distributed intervals embeds deeper than massed practice. Cramming feels productive, but produces shallow encoding. Your hippocampus consolidates during rest periods between exposures. Space creates strength. Time is a memory tool. Separate study sessions by days, not hours. Forgetting is part of remembering. 36. Embodied cognition. Physical posture shapes mental state. Stand tall, and confidence increases. Smile and mood lifts. Even forced smiles trigger positive neurochemistry. The brain takes cues from the body. Your physiology isn't a reflection of emotion. It's a generator of emotion. Change the body first. The mind follows the spine. 37. The bystander effect. Responsibility diffuses across crowds. More witnesses predict less intervention. Each person assumes someone else will act, producing collective inaction. Your brain's social computation. In a group, I am not the designated responder. Anonymity in numbers breeds passivity. In emergencies, assign action to one person by name. Specificity breaks the paralysis. 38. The availability heuristic. You judge probability by ease of recall. Plane crashes feel common because they're memorable. Heart disease kills more but generates less fear because it's less vivid. The brain mistakes memorability for frequency. Your risk assessment is a function of narrative drama, not statistical reality. Count occurrences, not headlines. Salience distorts probability. 39. Morning cortisol. Advantage: cortisol peaks within 30 minutes of waking, a natural physiological surge that enhances focus and stress resilience. This window is chemically optimal for challenging work. By afternoon, the advantage evaporates. You waste your biochemical prime on email and coffee. Protect the first 90 minutes. Your biology already scheduled peak performance. 40. The serial position effect. You remember beginnings and endings. Forget middles. The first items enter long-term memory through rehearsal. The last items still occupy working memory. The middle section, lacking both advantages, vanishes. Presentations, lists, conversations all suffer identical erosion in the center. Place critical information at boundaries. The middle is a memory graveyard. 41. Confirmation bias. You seek evidence that supports existing beliefs and ignore contradictions. The brain is a lawyer, not a scientist, arguing for conclusions already reached. Democrats read liberal news. Republicans read conservative news. Everyone curates reality to match their internal story. Objectivity is aspirational fiction. Actively seek disconfirmation. The truth lives where you're uncomfortable looking. 42. The Pygmalion effect. Expectations shape performance. Tell teachers certain students are gifted, chosen randomly, and those students improve measurably. The prophecy fulfills itself through unconscious behavioral changes. More attention, encouragement, patience. Your belief alters others' reality. Expectations are invisible architecture. Assume capability and watch it materialize. 43. Blue light circadian disruption. Screens emit wavelengths that suppress melatonin production for up to 3 hours. Your brain interprets blue light as midday sun, delaying sleep onset. The phone in your hand is chemically convincing. Your body, it's noon. You're not insomniac. You're biologically confused. Screens off 2 hours before sleep. Your circadian rhythm can't distinguish pixels from daylight. 44. The focusing illusion. Whatever you're currently thinking about dominates your assessment of life satisfaction. Ask someone about their relationship right after they've argued. They'll rate their entire life as worse. The spotlight of attention distorts global evaluation. The question itself creates the dissatisfaction. Nothing is as important as it seems when you're thinking about it. Wait before concluding. 45. Emotional contagion. Emotions spread through social networks like viruses. Sit near someone anxious and your cortisol rises. Work beside someone enthusiastic and your motivation lifts. The brain's mirror neuron system unconsciously mimics observed emotional states. You are porous to others' feelings. Curate emotional proximity. Moods are contagious, not just personal. 46. The foot in the door technique. Small initial commitments predict larger subsequent compliance. Agree to a minor request, and you'll find yourself agreeing to major ones. The brain seeks consistency. I already said yes once, so I must be the type who says yes. Identity follows behavior. Guard the first yes. Commitment is a slippery slope by design. 47. Walking and creativity. Ambulatory movement increases creative output by an average of 60%. The rhythmic bilateral stimulation, increased cerebral blood flow, and environmental novelty combine to enhance divergent thinking. Sitting pins cognition. Movement liberates it. Pace becomes power. Walk when stuck. The solution is often 3 blocks away. 48. The sunk cost fallacy. You continue investing in failing ventures because of resources already spent. The brain treats past costs as reasons to persist despite poor future prospects. I've already spent 2 years here. Keeps you in the wrong relationship, wrong job, wrong city. History hijacks judgment. Decide based on future value, not past investments. Yesterday's losses don't justify tomorrow's. 49. The testing effect. Retrieval practice strengthens memory more than rereading. Quiz yourself and you'll remember. Passive leisure review and you'll forget. The act of pulling information from memory, even if you fail, builds stronger neural pathways than re-exposure. Struggle is the mechanism. Close the book and recall. Difficulty during practice predicts ease during performance. 50. Neuroplasticity's quiet revolution. Your brain physically restructures itself in response to experience, growing new synapses, pruning unused connections, reallocating cortical real estate. London taxi drivers develop enlarged hippocampi. Musicians grow auditory cortex. You are not fixed. The architecture changes daily, silently, based on where you direct attention. You are what you practice. The brain you have tomorrow is being built by today's focus. 50 effects. 50 invisible architects shaping the house you think you built alone. You are not the unified self you imagined, the rational agent steering a predictable machine. You are an ecosystem, a parliament of processes, memory systems that lie to protect you, attention mechanisms that blink at critical moments, emotional circuits that read room temperature as evidence of human warmth, decision-making architecture that crumbles under too many choices and strengthens in the presence of witnesses. The doorway erases your thoughts. The crowd accelerates your pace. The repeated lie becomes your truth. The unfinished task whispers from the margins. The ending rewrites the entire story. And yet, you are also the creature who walks to solve problems, who recalls joy to diminish pain, who stands before vastness and feels the self dissolve into something larger, who can deliberately count gratitudes and chemically reconstruct mood, who builds memory through struggle, not comfort. These 50 mechanisms are not flaws. They are features, survival tools inherited from ancestors who needed shortcuts to outrun predators, form alliances, remember danger, and predict futures in environments where hesitation meant death. Your brain is ancient hardware running modern software, and the friction between the two creates every quirk, every bias, every beautiful malfunction you just cataloged. The planning fallacy keeps you optimistic enough to start. The negativity bias keeps you cautious enough to survive. The halo effect accelerates social bonding. The spacing effect ensures you don't waste energy on redundant encoding. The Dunning-Kruger effect provides the confidence to begin before competence arrives. You are beautifully broken by design,